Hey you guys, what's up? Sorry for the lack of uploads. I was actually working on a really nice version of my tournament report for regionals, with not actually me in it, just narrating over it with, nice card transitions and things like that. But I had worked on it for like a couple of hours, just, making sure I had nice cuts of my audio and, good transitions and all that. And Final Cut just started being weird on me. And admittedly, I rather have the trade-off of letting my content maybe suffer a little bit and just getting this tournament report out there rather than not doing it for like 2 weeks, because that's just weird. Even a week late is kind of weird, I think. So sorry about that, but here's my regionals tournament report. I went down to Texas for regionals in Houston. That was the closest one. There were also a lot of people that I could potentially stay with. Props to Mark. He's decading on Hey Trainer for helping me find a place to stay with him and his friends for the regional. That really helped me out. This game's expensive, so any hotels I can save money on, definitely appreciate it. So huge thanks to him first, right off the bat, before I even get into this, because him and his friends, they're great guys. Really fun, really nice. Got some good testing matches in that morning. But anyways, let's get into the actual report. Round 1, I'm paired up against someone named Matthew, and he's playing Empoleon with Mew and Virizion and Emolga just to boost his consistency and also be able to hit Psychic Pokemon. But essentially, I open up Rayquaza and Tynamo, and I get to go first, which is, always nice. And basically, I Dragon Pulse turn 1 his Virizion, and I think I discard things that aren't like super horrible to discard, like level balls, but aren't great to discard either, so no lightnings, and put 40 on his Virizion that he opens with. But essentially, what this game boils down to is he finds out that he has 2 Piplups prized, which really hurts him. He doesn't tell me this, obviously, like when we're playing, but I notice that he's not calling for family for Piplups, and, I can put 2 and 2 together. But I get out like 3 electrics in 3 turns, which is, great. And lightning in the discard, too, is actually another thing I'm able to get in this, which is a concern. I don't even think I mentioned what I'm playing. I was playing Rayquaza Electric, just pretty standard, 2/2/2 line of attackers, 8 lightning, 4 fire, 2 super rod, or some interesting things I was doing. But I was able to get my lightning in the discard, and I just got out both of my Raikos, and I just started Volt Bolting around. Pretty much, there's always something on the board to KO. They one-shot Empoleons, and I just kind of took this one pretty quick, and I felt really good about it. So round 2, I'm playing against Alex Fields, who is a familiar face. I actually played him in the top 4 of Oklahoma States. So he essentially has the title of knocking me out of the biggest tournament that I've had the best finish in, like that. But really nice guy, and I was excited to play him because I know he's a good player, and I knew it would be a good game. He is playing a really interesting deck. He's playing Excelgor with Darkrai and Sableye, no Trainer Lock, no Empoleon, none of the jokes, just, kind of a straight-up consistency version like that. And it's a really interesting match because he's really able to hit and recycle his catchers using Sableye. And he actually takes out all of my electrics, but I was using Raikou, and I just, was like, I'm getting rid of these Excelgors, they're a pain in the butt. And then I was hoping that I'd be able to, have my Super Rods and really take out all the Excelgors and then be able to get my Eels back, and so maybe keep it even on prizes, get Eels on the board, and then just kind of clear him out. But that doesn't really happen. We actually end up not having Excelgors and Electrics on the field for basically the second half of the game, so it becomes this really weird muscle match between his Darkrai's and my Raikous. I think I was a little bit ahead on prizes, which is part of why I'm even able to keep up with this. Obviously, if you don't have any energy accelerators, Darkrai's going to crush Raikou. But I did make really good use of the Dynamotors I did have, and I knew what was going to happen, and I knew how I had to play it. So basically what ends up happening is that there's a key play where I decide to catcher up a non-Eviolited Darkrai. I had already played my 1 Tool Scrapper and got rid of 2 Eviolites. He had a 3rd one. So I Thunder Wave that, which is huge. I hit heads on the Paralysis. I think I'm actually able to get up maybe another Eel, or I somehow get the energy on a Rayquaza, not the shiny Rayquaza, the non-EX one, to then retreat for the next turn and shred, and then I know that he's going to KO this Rayquaza. He's already played all 4 of his catchers, and so he KOs the Rayquaza, goes down to 1 prize. I promote the Raikou. I Super Rod back in 3 Lightning, and I Juniper, and I think there are only 9 cards in my deck, so I automatically hit a Lightning Energy, and I just attach it and Volt Bolt that Darkrai that had already taken the 120 between the Thunderfang and Shred, and that ended up being the game. So it was really close, really crazy. I had to kind of make a leap of faith on the Thunder Wave, but it ended up working in my favor. Sometimes the best thing you can do is make the game go down to a coin flip, And this time, things just happened to work out in my favor. Don't feel too bad, though, because Alex ended up going 7-1 on the day, so I was his only loss, which, so he obviously played great, and, so glad, the early loss didn't stop him. Stand-up guy, really fun to play him, and probably the most enjoyable game I've had all season by far. So round 3, I'm paired against a guy by the name of Dale, and he's playing Darkrai Hydreigon, and he gets to go first, and he gets out the turn 2 Hydreigon. I can't really get Lightning in my discard, and basically, he's running the version with Prisms and Drakion, which I really like. I think that makes the mirror a lot more favorable and just makes it a more skill-intensive deck. I think with these really popular decks, Darkrai Hydreigon and Rayquaza Eels, you need to play it for the mirror, because otherwise, you're going to be playing a ton of mirrors anyways. Like, you might as well make that 50-50 matchup a little more favorable. It helps a lot. But, so he's playing this Drakion version. He gets out the turn 2 Hydreigon. I think he gets out the turn 3 Night Spear, and he basically just starts rolling me. There's nothing I could really do. The only misplay I really made was that I benched Rayquaza EX when I didn't have a KO, and so he ended up just Dragon Blasting that. I did KO Hydreigon, actually, and take his one Hydreigon off the field, but he already had a Dino on the field, and he had the Candied Hydreigon the next turn, like on his turn, so I was like, oof. So it was a rough loss, but he played really well. I think he ended up actually going 7-1 on the day, too. So I actually played against a lot of people who did really well at this tournament, which is, kind of neat. Makes me feel better. So round 4, I'm paired against Alex, who is Snow Globes on Hay Trainer, and a really good friend of mine. He's a really classy stand-up guy. And so I'm kind of bummed to have to play him, but I know it'll be fun. So he is playing the mirror, and he opens with Emolga. He gets out 3 Tynamos turn 1. I actually start with the regular Rayquaza, and I catch out one of these Emolgas and I pulse it, and I think I get like a Lightning and something, like a Bianca in the discard. But basically he's able to respond with his shiny Rayquaza, and it's really weird. I only played 3 Ultra Balls, which I kind of regret. I had some trouble getting out attackers, and this is one of those situations. I think I ended up having to promote in the electric, and I just can't hit attackers, and then when I do, I don't have like the fire. So he ends up just kind of rolling me. Not much I could do there either. It was probably a little less my fault than the last one was. There was probably a few misplays. I had more options in the last game. This one, it was just kind of Alex got set up. Or Alec, I just called Alec Alex. My bad, Alec. I know your name. And basically, he just rolled me. And, it's kind of the format sometimes. Rayquaza Electric, when it sets up fast, is a really dirty deck. So I'm sure a lot of people know that. But, nothing I can do. I'm 2-2, so I know I'm do or die for this, and I need to qualify if I want to make cut. So, cross my fingers. Round 5, I'm playing against another Excelgor Darkrai Sableye, except this one is actually using Mew, as the last one was too. I just didn't mention that, and Musharna, which lets you draw one of your top 2 cards. You get to look at the 2, pick one. So really interesting text. Kind of got like the Empoleon feel a little bit, but not quite. But I mulliganed 3 times in a row to start this game, which isn't good. Like, just giving your opponent 3 free cards is horrible. And I'm really nervous when he opens with like a Shelmet on the field, because then I'm like, oh no, if he gets the turn 2 Gothitelle, that's horrible. And things I don't want to deal with. But basically, what happens is that he starts rolling me just flat out. And the thing I noticed though is that he Ultra Balls away like 3 or 4 supporters over the course of 2 turns. So I know that his deck is already a really vulnerable deck to N, and I know that he's burning through resources. So basically, I just play it to set up for the turn where I'm just going to try and take complete board control, and I do that. He deck and covers and takes his last Excelgor off the field, and on that next turn, as a response, I'm able to Dragon Burst, or I'm able to N, and then Dragon Burst KO his Darkrai that had 3 energy on it that he was using to Night Spear as his basically card he was promoting after deck and covering. So doing this, he doesn't have any Excelgors on the field, and he doesn't have any Darkrai with energy. The 2 prizes are really big too, and I end up just being able to come back from this one. I knew I had to play the end there. I knew I had to set up that kind of big turn where I just take board control, and he comes close to coming back. He had 3 catcher in the discard. I think if he had 1 more, he would have won it, but I did see like an enhanced hammer even in his deck, so I don't know if he could have fit a 4th catcher in there. I don't know if it was actually there and he was digging for it, but he didn't really have the supporters, so I was fairly confident about that one. It was really stomach of a game, though. That game where it's like I've lost 2 in a row, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to lose here. Like, I really don't want to drop 3 straight. That's just not, something you want. But felt really good being able to come back and take that one. Round 6, I'm paired against someone who I didn't catch their name, but they're playing Entei, and they're playing it with Mewtwo and Tornadus EX, and it was really a strange kind of game. Basically, I start with my shiny Rayquaza, and I Dragon Pulse this Entei when I shouldn't, and I just keep discarding garbage, and it's just ridiculous. I think I do it 2 or 3 times, but I realize I need to stop doing this. I have my Super Rod, so I can get back like Eel parts when I discard those. But basically, what happens is I just catch her up an Entei on the bench because he benched one when he shouldn't have, from my like minimal understanding of really how you play Entei correctly. I think he had like 2 on the active and one on the bench and none on the bench one. So I just catch her that up, and he keeps attaching to bench Pokemon, and it's really weird. So I guess he kept mentioning that he played Switch, but I feel like a deck like that you got to play at least 3. But so he was whiffing on those, and it was weird. He was passing when it like I later revealed to me he had supporters, but I essentially just got my Eels out and started Raikou-ing around him, and I ended up winning this one. So kind of a weird one. Kind of surprised to see him playing at 3-2. I think he must have been a newer player just based on some of the mistakes he made. But it's an opportunity I'm given to take advantage of a game, and good players capitalize on opportunities, and you just got to recognize when maybe you got a little bit easier of a win, and just be cognizant of it, be thankful for it, and then just, get prepared for the next game. So, round 7, I am playing against Timothy, who's actually a subscriber to the show. So, hi Timothy, if you're there. It was nice to play you. And he's playing Darkrai Hydreigon. And I mulligan a bunch this game too, and I'm like, oh no, not again. And I think I knew he was playing Darkrai Hydreigon. I think we both might have mulliganed like the first time, or something kind of like tipped me off to it. I don't know. I think I just knew. But so I'm like, oh no, this is a really bad deck to mulligan against a bunch of times. But I'm lucky enough that I get to go first. And I was joking about this actually because we were worried about time because he had shown up a little just like a minute before start because Houston was a really packed venue. But and then I mulligan a bunch, so we're like, oh gosh, like everyone else is like already started, and I just keep mulliganing. And I just am, making a joke. It's like, oh, don't worry, I'll just get to go first and play the end. And this is actually what happens. So I play that end. I get rid of his, really good hand, which he actually told me afterwards was a really good hand even before I started mulliganing. So I can only imagine how dirty that hand must have been. And I later find out that what I end him into is all 3 of his Hydreigons, or presumably all 3. I don't know if he played a 4th. I doubt it. 2 catchers and a Juniper. Ugh. So I'm very thankful for this, but I actually end up setting up lightning fast too. I think I have 2 Eels out turn 2, a third one out turn 3, and basically I can just Dragon Burst for 180 to 240 every turn I need to. He actually plays it really well given how bad his hand is. He keeps whiffing energy too is the other thing, and he's like forced to Juniper after like a turn, and he uses his catchers and Sableye really well to like try and bait me into Dynamotoring. I end up just taking the bait, knowing what he's doing, but just at the same time being like, I'm willing to, take this risk, and Dynamotoring 1 to each of my Eels as he's doing this, so I just have to have the 1 from hand to attach and retreat them. But it gets really complicated with that, and him reusing his catchers really well with Sableye, but, I ran hotter than the sun that game, and he, when you have a hand, when you get end turn 1 into a hand of 3 Hydreigons, 2 catchers, and a Juniper, there's really only so much you can do. So I feel, I kind of, gypped this kid out of a fair game. But sometimes it happens. I got rolled a couple of games. It happens. It's part of the format. The format's a little weird competitively in that rolling people happens a lot. So I end up winning this one, and I'm 5-2, which is really exciting. I know I just have one more game that I need to win, and then I'm probably into cut. I was, kind of, following how my opponents were doing, so I knew. Basically, Alec Noah finished 6-2, Alex Field finished 7-1, and Dale Lynch finished 7-1, so I knew that these guys already had really good records going into this. So I'm fairly confident if I win that I'll make it in and that I have really fantastic resistance, actually. And I actually get up paired for this round, so I know that if I win, my resistance is absolutely ridiculous. So I know, winning I'm in no problem. I'd probably be the top 6-2 seed even. But I'm playing against another guy by the name of Matt, and his player ID was like 000, like 365 or something crazy like that, where it's like 3 zeros in the beginning. So I guess he had been playing for a really long time. And we're playing the mirror, and I get to go first this game, which is nice after, I think I went second for 5 games in a row. So I went first, 5 seconds, and then 2 firsts. And I know we're playing the mirror. Someone tipped me off to that. And he flips over Raikou, and I flip over the secret rare Rayquaza, and I was like, oh, I wanted that to be the Dynamo so bad. But I get out 3 Dynamos on my turn, so I feel really good about that. And then I attach the fire. I don't have the lightning, and I'm just going to pass. I know that fire will be good for the shred later, and so I'm fine with that. He gets out 1 Dynamo. I have the catcher for it, and I play the N. And this is a big play. Knowing if I can take this 1 Dynamo off the field, that it's going to be another extra turn that he won't have Eels. It's huge. Or really at 2 turns. Instead of having it that next turn, it's 2 or however many if I can prevent him. But I end with all 8 lightning in deck, and I whiff after having already played the catcher, and it was such a it was not a good feeling. But that's probability. It's one of the risks of playing a competitive card game. So anyways, we keep going, and it really turns into a Raikou war. Really it's either you kind of duke it out with your Rayquazas and Rayquaza EXs, or you try and Raikou each other. Which is usually more favorable if you're behind, I feel like. But I wasn't hitting the fires anyways, only running 4. Kind of one of my regrets, but I really like the 2 super rods, so, hard trade. But basically, what happens is that there are a couple turns where I start missing supporters, which is really common in this format. But the thing is that he's playing an N every turn, so he ends me to 5, ends me to 4, and ends me to 4 3 turns in a row. So really I'm seeing 6 cards, 5 cards, and 5 cards if you include my draw for the turn. And despite seeing all these different cards on these 3 turns, I don't see a single supporter. So essentially, when I finally do top deck the Juniper, I think I just need an energy and I'm still in the game. And I really did stay in the game, despite the fact that I wasn't hitting supporters. And so I Juniper, I need just like a lightning or something, and I hit like 2 more Juniper and 2 Bianca. So it was weird clumping with my deck. It was a really, I ended up losing the game by like a turn. It was a really rough heartbreaker. I thought I should have won, but at the same time, probability happens. Just things happen. Maybe I could have done it a little better, but I do feel like I really did play that game well. And, at the end of the day, sometimes it's just not in the cards. I end up going 5-3, and I finish in like 38th place, with a top 32 cut. I think I was easily one of the top 5 threes. I played 3 people who went 7-1 and 1 person that went 6-2. So, that's kind of nuts for your resistance. So I had to play tough players at one of the most competitive regionals in the country, and I ended up doing pretty well. It was rough losing that last one, and it's probably better I'm doing this tournament report a week later. I was fairly sour about it, not at the person I played or anything like that. I don't ever really do that, but just probability was rough, and things happen. I still feel good. I played to the best of my ability, and sometimes it's really all you can do. So for my tournament props. Huge props to Mark Decadang on Hey Trainer for the place to stay. I already shouted him and his friends out. Thanks to him and Adam and all those guys. They were really great helping me out. And then mad props to Ty Smith for winning the Houston Regional. I was so excited to hear about that. I had to leave because it's like a 9-hour drive and I had class the next day. But Ty ended up winning, so he's been on the channel a lot and he's a really good friend of mine. So I was excited. If I can't win, at least one of my really good friends in this game. He's probably one of my best friends in this game, so really excited to see him win. Other props, just really everyone I saw. Meeting a bunch of Hey Trainer kids was really great. I think I met John Viveros, I met Wiley Fungi, I met a bunch of other people, and people I already knew too, so it's always nice to see people. And then other, I guess, slops. Slops, having to drive to Houston, long drive. Probability, I guess, a little, but other slops. I think that's just about it for slops. I really don't have much to complain about. I would have loved to have made cut, but I still had a really great time. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of long tournament report. I didn't mean this to turn into such a ramble, but things happen. In terms of updates for the channel, I'm waiting for scans to go up for all of the new set. I've seen that 60 are up on Poke Beach right now. This Sunday afternoon, but hopefully more will come up soon. I've started kind of messing around. I'll try and record some of my actual real life testing games, but we are using proxies that are black and white, so not the most visually appealing games being reported, but I could do that, and I'm really trying to up my content. I'm sorry I've been bad about this lately, but it'll get better. So make sure you rate, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I should have hopefully lots more content to bring you guys soon. Later.